BRB Network TV with Brian Hertzock.
In studio, we have the Dean of College Business at Southern University, Dr. Donald Andrews, is going to be touching up in the area of economics. Dean Andrews, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Brian. Great to be here.
Dean, in terms of the economic recession, what type of state is our national economy right now?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, Brian. The economy has been in a great recession, as it's referred to. We didn't go into a depression, as some had feared. And so now we're moving forward in terms of a recovery phase in the economy. So people can be somewhat relaxed that the policies that the Obama administration has put in place are having a great impact on the economy in terms of the stimulus. And a recent survey shows that the consumer more or less feels a lot better about what's taking place in the overall economy. So the level of job loss, the rate at which we have been losing jobs is decreasing. The unemployment rate may go to 10.2% is what the economists are forecasting. But from there, they predict that the level of the unemployment rate will start to decline. And so basically in 2010, the economy should be fully in the recovery mode.
We just passed the anniversary of Lehman Brothers from September of last year. Has the financial situation stabilized since then?
Well, Lehman Brothers was a watershed event in terms of the financial markets. In September of 2008, Lehman Brothers, one of the oldest and largest financial houses on Wall Street, crumbled. It failed. And basically, we did not know that the level of failure on the part of Lehman Brothers would have the impact that it did. There was a freeze on credit markets, not only in the United States, but around the world. There was no lending that was taking place. So the former administration, the Bush administration, as well as the Obama administration, came out with policy and programs in terms of loaning money to the major financial banks to give them the confidence to loan to each other. And so the anniversary of Lehman Brothers 2008, which we are celebrating now in 2009, was such that it was a major event, but the policies that were put in place helped us to avert a real crisis that could have caused not only a national depression, but a global depression. And we've seen Secretary Geithner, U.S. Treasury Secretary, in terms of what they did with the TARP program, as it was referred to make loans to major banks to keep them from failing so that we would not have a global depression that would take place. So the Obama administration deserves credit in terms of the stimulus program and others that they have developed that prevented the financial crisis from deepening and becoming a financial depression.
Dean, what about the consumer confidence on a national level?
Well, Brian, that's a great question, Brian. The consumer is the key to the overall U.S. economy. The U.S. consumer spends about 65% of the national product. And so if the consumer decides not to spend, that's a major problem for the rest of the economy. And so a recent survey, that is the University of Michigan, does a survey of consumer sentiment, that is how the consumer feels about the economy. Are they likely to go out and spend? So that index went from 65 in August of 2009 to 70 in September of 2009. So that indicates that the consumer who had basically been in distress over the overall economy now feels more confident that the economy is recovering, that the worst of the recession is over. And 51 economists in a national survey indicate that the economy may already be moving into a recovery phase. So from here on out, we've seen the worst of the recession, and so we can look forward to an economic rebound. The cash for clunkers, as we all know, had a very stimulative impact on the automotive industry. Also, they had, I think, cash for household appliances. And so these programs that the administration has put in place has had the overall impact that they wanted to show in terms of the consumer feeling confident that the economy is on the rebound. And so once we have the confidence of the consumer, that means that the business people nationally and the local business people will go out and spend, will add to their inventories, will basically prepare for the Christmas holidays, the Thanksgiving holidays, and so it would be better than what it would have been if they did not feel more confident in what was taking place on the national economy level.
After we're out of this recession, on a national level that is, what can people do to prevent from this happening again?
Oh, Brian, you're really asking some great questions, Brian. I mean, we've suffered through this because we talked about what happened on Wall Street in terms of the greed that took place. We had people more or less extending people credit in terms of mortgage lending, that people did not really have a down payment. They didn't need a down payment. They had what they call no-doc loans, and in one case, no-income loans. So people were speculating on the real estate. And so people should be aware of the risk that they are assuming when they borrow funds, and basically need to know that they have the capacity to repay. And so they won't be ending up in foreclosure. So in the future, we're likely to see much more in the way of regulation to prevent the types of predatory lending practices that we've seen in the past. And so therefore, we'll be able to prevent the consumer from going into a distressed situation as we have recently experienced. And Brian, here in the Baton Rouge area, hopefully we can continue more or less the economic growth and development that is taking place, so that business people will feel more confident in advertising and making employment available to people here in the Baton Rouge area. So Brian, I want to thank you for this segment. You're doing a great job in terms of informing the business community and the consumers about what opportunities are here and how they can take advantage of these trends.
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you, Brian. Great to be here.
That was Dr. Donald Andrews, the Dean of College Business at Southern University, giving us his take on the economic situation. Stay tuned. We have Baton Rouge attorney Kip Wall in studio with a practice focused on representing consumers in bankruptcy. We'll be right back.